Are we live? Just go with it. Are we alive? I'm so glad to be here. I'm glad that you're here too. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here at the Ozone Studios for the Friday Night Live. Oh my gosh. My cheeks are even rosy. There was a mad dash trying to come live this evening. And I'm so glad that you guys are here anyway, awaiting for me. Rock, the Rocksmith, is here. Femme Mechanique Designs is here. Thank you so much for that amazing live. If you didn't catch Julie Femme Mechanique for her live that she just had, it was quite informative on creating a ring with a wax sculpture and then doing some lost wax casting, which we still get to see. So thank you so much for treating us to that. Ma is here, of course. That Opal guy is here, and yes, we are late. Is the query? We we are off to one incredible start. Hey, it's the start of the weekend, though, you guys, and so at the very least, there's that. Oh my gosh, my computer had a meltdown. I've got some things to kind of coagulate as far as the mind goes here. And you guys noticed that there wasn't an opening montage, which there always is. And it's the fun slideshow. And I actually took great pains to put together slideshow together tonight because we're going to be looking at everybody's cool projects that they are sharing with us over on the Discord for the February Live Edge Cabochon contest. And of course, we'll have Freeform Lapidary on as guest in a little bit to discuss that with us all. And we're going to look at them. Now, usually I have everything already ready for you guys, pre-packaged and ready to go. Tonight, not so much. We're just flying by the seats of our pants because for some reason computer decided to melt down right before live stream. No download of the slideshow. And this is actually reflective of my entire week. So I am not at all surprised. And of course, Freeform Lapidary is here. Lisa, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here too. And Blind Squirrel Rocks is here. Good to see you as well. Ryan is here. Mystery Science Theater time. That's right. Oh yeah. I had to put that up because it's just too if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying. And I know that if you guys were watching the videos this week, that Allison had a week, all a bad week in one day. She had, I think it was on Tuesday night. Boops to you, Chris. Thank you so much for coming. And so she was having some kind of like serious calamity going on in her life. And I wasn't even able to fully be present for her live stream because this week has been super duper chunky, like chock full of nuts for me too. How about you? I would love to hear how your week is going. And I hope that is much, much better news. This has been crazy. Let me just tell you. And Benjamin is here in the house. Good to see you, as well as the lava bison. I always want to say basalt bison, and I know we've got a bunch of different names for you already. The magma buffalo, right? Yeah. And let's see. I'm trying to catch up now at this point. Chris is here. Now, Chris also had a fantastic live. No, wait, it was a premiere, and it was about all the spoils from Tucson. So if you didn't have a chance to see that, definitely go check out Chris's Rufotris Rooted Rock Hounds live or premiere, a video at this point. And that was a lot of crystals to look at, and I thought it was kind of funny that you were saying, uh, if I had known that I was gonna be scoring crystals on the, AZRE claim, that maybe your possessions at the gem show might have been a little bit different, but, it was a real spectacle to the eyes, and so if you need to do some crystal gazing, people, go check out Rufotris Rooted Rockhound's new video. And Tomcat Josh is here. Good to see you, Tomcat Josh, as always. And one of the things that I think is going on is that we are having a big festival here in town, and I was having trouble downloading uh, a file that I had created on one of my uh, programs, and it was just not good. The opening montage, and I kept on trying to grab it, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be something wrong with my um, computer. So I restarted the computer. I think it's that the internet is overwhelmed because we've got like a ton of people in town right now. And so my apologies to you for the late start this evening, but also apologies if we just like get yanked off of the internet tonight, then it's because there's a gazillion people partying here in town this weekend. And so uh just a preemptive apology if things decide to take a nosedive. And Ken is here in the house, kind of lurking. And I did see that beautiful shot of the platelet fortifications under the microscope, sir. And wow, I was in the middle of trying to mop up computer issues, and so as I aforementioned, so you'll have to excuse me for not having replied, but oh my gosh, what a visual feast that was. And I'm hoping that you are into coming back on soon for some microzone. That would be a treat and a half. And you'll have to bring that rock along with you because that was a good looking one there. And here we go. Thanks, Karen. It was a preview. I want to call it a more in-depth look in the coming weeks when I'm not as busy. I'm looking forward to that. That was quite, it was just a lot of crystals going by our eyeballs, which believe me, I think that there's nobody here that would argue that that's something that they would love to see. And so thank you for treating us to the preview and looking forward to an additional video. Chris, J and V Rock Hounding is here in the house. Good to see you, Jeff. And also, Jeff had a great video, as always, a nice cutting video, lots of cool rocks to look at there. And I'm betting that you've probably made your next milestone on your channel. So I'm hoping that I get to give you a congratulations there. We've got one of them coming up here too soon. And we've got Wildheart in the house. Good to see you. And Mr. Turtle Montana, how you doing? Hope that you are doing well and that you are back home finally after that crazy trip that you took. 5 away. Oh my gosh. You guys, send some people over to Jeff. 5 away from 1K. That is such a stellar accomplishment. Congratulations. Just right here, everybody's giving you a great round of applause. And if you aren't, yeah, right? Rock says the Jeff Julio, the great bot Julio. Jeff over there at JMV Rock Hounding. If you're not subscribed already, let's do the thing. Let's pop this guy over the 1K mark right here, right now. If you've got like a cousin that you could call or something, like just let's get that bad boy over the top. Fantastic. Good to hear that you're so close. Let's do it, guys. And like I said, we've got the cabochons to talk about tonight. I thought it would be kind of cool to look at some of the different mounting ideas for what do you do with the cabochon once it's done. And I know that there's been several people who have asked this question over the time of all times. I remember actually Jared from Currently Rock Hounding once asking, like, what do you do? You got all these cabochons now. What do you do with them? And so we're going to look at some of the solutions for that. Like I said, we're going to look at the entries for the February contest over there at the Discord, having Freeform Lapidary on. I thought perhaps if we've got some time, in addition to these things, we might look at drawing some mock jewelry items. That was really fun when we kind of took some of the raw materials and we popped them together and looked at some potential jewelry designs in the Wise. Because if we're looking at how maybe to set, now setting is only one of the things that you can do with a cabochon. Obviously, you can put it in a frame, like Rufotris Rooted Rockhound actually did. And so you can have a presentation, a little easel or one of those boxes, like kind of like a shadow box, those ones that hold your cabochon. There's a lot of different ways to present if you're going to, put it into your collection. We're going to go through some of the ways to mount it, as far as like not get on it like a horse, but to put it into a piece of jewelry. And oh, Mr. Turtle Montana, thank you so much. Look at this. We got a bell ringer already. A vigorous shaking of the bell early on in the evening. That bodes well. But yeah, we're going to be looking at some of the different ways. Thank you again, Mr. Turtle Montana. You know that these memberships not only go to making other people happy because they can see some of the stuff on the membership side of the channel, which I have been popping things into more often these days, but also really helps the channel as far as getting the stuff that we need, like dual microphones so that Steve and I can speak at the same time and do some interviews and things like that. So again, I thank you guys for pitching the little here and there extras, because it goes a really long way for the channel and we always need it. And so let's see, drawing the jewelry items, and then hopefully getting some of those things underneath the microscope as well. The opening montage had a beautiful shot of this Brian from 775 Rock Hounding, this absolutely gorgeous azurite chrysocolla that he gave me in one of the boxes, those boxes that he was doing so that he could get some pellets for his stove and everything. He did this incredibly generous box for me, and this azurite chrysocolla quartz and some hematite blend was in there, and oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. And so we'll probably at the very least have a look at that. And I see the dog is watching on the screen. Yeah. They're mystery science theorying tonight. And so like really quick before I get my guest on here, I just want to explain to you, and I would love to know what in the world is going on this week. I mean, it might as well have been a sad country song. And if I had had the time, instead of like wrestling this week to the ground for Friday here, I would have like written a country song or something like that. Our washing machine pump took a dump, and so it's not taking the water out of the washing machine anymore. So washing machine is toting for now. It went a floating, and we've got like the pump ordered, and so at the very least we don't have to get a whole new washing machine. I dropped a Viking weave chain onto the floor of the studio and promptly rolled right over it with my chair. And those of you who understand the Viking weave, that's a hollow form, and so that thing is smashed. And I was like, no, I can't believe. And so I was like, I might be on to like kind of a rough week, and there were some other bumps that made it kind of exciting. And then as I was creating this ring that I am absolutely in love with, it's I posted it over on the Discord. It's got the copper bearing dolomite that I got from Kyle. beautiful cabochons, and I seeded a white topaz and a smoky quartz on either side of that to create this ensemble. And as I was finishing it, the vise slipped and it like crushed side of the bezel, and I was like, no, this isn't actually happening. And to top it off, the cherry on top of the sundae was that I was doing the sand casting. And actually, we even just spoke very briefly about it over on Femme Mechanique's live. I was casting this one ammonite actually, one ammonite that I had gotten from Melissa, and it was the perfect size, about 10 millimeters, the size of a dime. It was just perfect for earrings and pendants and all kinds of stuff. And it was made out of pyrite. It was just the most gorgeous little subject. And it was sitting on the counter where I had the entire flow of the casting going on. So there's the area where you pack the sand into the cylinder, and then I had the torch and the whole molten silver setup, and so the whole crucible and the torch and everything. And you chop up the sand ahead of time like it's, cabbage for coleslaw. So you chop, 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 chop through this sand, and then you pack it into a cylinder where you're making a relief of the ammonite or whatever it is that you want to cast. And I would love to take you along this expedition sometime. So maybe I might make it a live, but there is actually one of my makers challenges a couple years back is about sand casting if you want to look at that. So I've got this whole production set up. And so the casting of the little ammonite, that little guy that I keep on using for the hollow form that is going to be cast, it's sitting on the cutting board, the chopping board with all of the chopped up sand waiting to get repacked over again. I come downstairs, I'm doing some stuff like I like to remove the sprue off of the casting. And so actually here's one of them right here. There's the ammonite, and it's in sterling silver. And then you see the sprue, and you can see this like wonderful like bruise that I got on my fingernail. It's been a week, you guys. I'm telling you, this has been crazy. And so, anyways, I cut the sprues off so that I can reuse the silver. And so, I make a cast and then I saw that off and then go back upstairs to recast. And I go burning upstairs to recast, and the sand is gone from the cutting board. And I'm like, what? Hey, Steve, did you move the sand for some reason? What happened to the sand? And he's like, nope, didn't touch it. And I'm like looking around, like, what in the world happened to the sand for the sand casting? I mean, like a whole, like there was at least a cup of sand there, all chopped up, ready to pack. And I'm like, that is so weird. Well, that whole little station is sitting right where Lily would typically counter surf if she was going to like steal somebody's sandwich off of the kitchen counter. Cause I was casting on the countertop where a bunch of stuff is fireproof already, like our stovetop. So I'm like, is it even possible? Did Lily eat my sand casting sand? And then I'm looking around and I'm not finding the ammonite. There's no ammonite. And I'm like, Lily, did you eat the ammonite too? Did you eat my casting sand and the ammonite? Is that what happened? And she was looking super guilty. I don't know, y'all that have dogs, like, when you like call them out on something and they're like, and they kind of skulk away. Like they won't make eye contact with you, and they're just like, "Oh, I don't know. No, it was probably the other dogs. Owahi did it, or maybe Ochiko. And so, man, okay, Tomcat. So I'm like, okay. I don't know if those of you out there, anybody is familiar with Delft clay, but you can buy sand casting clay, as a beginner to find out like if it's your thing and it's less challenging to get a good casting than from like just regular sand that you would take off of the beach. And so I bought some to try it for my first time, and it's expensive and it's bright red. It is brick red clay. It's really really intense stuff, and I guess it kind of like as like a rock sniffer, it does have a very nice smell to it. And so yeah. So Lily found it to be appealing. And so I was like, man, am I going to have to be digging through poop to find the ammonite? Like, unbelievable. Those of you who have been playing along with my studio fun with this particular subject in the past know that Ochiko would eat my sunstones, and I only knew that he was eating my sunstones because I found them outside on the other end of the thing. And so I was like, there's glimmering stuff in Ochiko's poo. What in the world is that? And so I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like recognize out of 3 dogs, like exactly whose poo I'm supposed to be foraging through anyway in the first place. And it so happens that about, 12 hours later, brick red poo starts happening in the backyard. Ah, okay. So at the very least, I know where I might be looking. But yeah. Now, does anybody want that casting though? Like, if you got an ammonite that was post this one here, because this is the last one that I have of the limited edition. Um, would you want that? It's been through a dog if I do find it. And so what do we have? Is that like a vegetated sandwich, an ammonite sandwich? Yeah. Yeah, it happened. And whatever happened, blame it on the pig. Yeah. Um, yeah, actually, lava bison. When let's see, which one was it? Oh, I think was it last year's Makers Challenge. Yeah, the dogs actually science theatered my entire video. Well, they were just in sections, but yeah. I'm an MST3K absolute glutton. I'm like a hardcore Misty. So, anyways, um, these guys, those are the actual. That's Ochiko Owahi. This is Ochiko in the middle underneath my chin, and then Owahi is in the middle, and Lily is there on the outside. Those are the dogs. You know, there's always a bright side to the sunstone that's been in poop, and that would be it's better than looking through human poo. That is so true. Yeah. Oh my gosh, right? Call that piece the Labrador. That's a whole new Labradorite, right? Is there something is there a healerite out there? Because we might be working on something new. It'll clean up nice, right, Chris? I mean, I actually okay, so I'm gonna come clean here. And then we're gonna get Caleb on here, but I did go through one of the piles already. And so I'm poking it with a stick and I'm like kind of sorting through it, and I didn't find the ammonite, but like don't fret. There are a couple more piles. Now it rains profusely here, so I'm kind of hoping that the rain kind of just washes that away and like I just find the ammonite. That would be preferable. But while I was bent over poking this poop with a stick, I'm pretty sure there were some people walking by my house. wondering what the heck I was doing. So it's been a week. Oh, and I want to congratulate Boot. Send it to Igit did to lick it. Oh, man. I'll ask if Jason wants to do that. Boot, congratulations on getting a published article. I haven't read it yet, but I did download it so that I could read it. So congratulations on that. That is super cool. And boy, vibe cleaner. Yep, you guys have all the good ideas over there. Oh, metal detector. Genius. I don't have a metal detector, but do you know how many people in my neighborhood must because of the beach? So, yes, you have the best idea there. Oh gosh, I know, you know, I'm hearing voices because we do live someplace where a lot of people like to walk by, and it's not like they are walking right by my yard, but you can see my yard like kind of through the bushes. And I'm hearing people walking by like their tone and everything. I'm like they're watching me sort through crap. I know it. So yeah, that was an ungood. Wait, what's going on here? You need to put on a bathrobe and sing sea shanties when you're poking poop in the yard. There's protocols in play there. Yeah, right. That would work. Yeah, and then maybe less people would walk by the house. You've got something there too. I mean, the fact that I'm just gonna be like metal detecting the poo in my front yard and backyard anyway for people to be able to see. Yeah, it's all good. And so with all that being said, Caleb, can you top that?
Uh, no, but I did have to. We metal detected our Basset puppy once because my wife lost her wedding ring, and so we thought for sure the dog ate it.
Wow, that is awesome.
She didn't. We did find it, but yeah, we were curious for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, that's was it butter?
Yes,
Yay! Go butter. Butter likes nice things.
she does.
Awesome. Well, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you? Well, it sounds like you've
Oh,
had a week, but this is
I'm doing so much
fun
better now.
time.
Right, right. Yeah, like this is let the hair down time. Cheers to you. Hopefully you
Cheers.
have something good in your moose. It looks like you need another one. Bartender, get Caleb a drink here. Tell us about what's going on over on the Discord while I take a long and deep drink off of this.
So we have the Cabochon contest going on. This is our second month. This is a live edge theme. So it's taking a rock and incorporating the natural edge that occurs. It could be like a botryoidal section, a crystal section, or just kind of like the crusty or rough natural edge and including that in the composition of your stone. We've had some really good entries so far. Would like to see some more. This is the final weekend to get them in by Sunday night. And then voting will start on Monday.
Awesome. Okay, and so anybody who is out there in the chat that is watching, um, so either you are or you're not a member of our Discord. So first of all, we need to be a member of the Discord. So go be a member. You're all invited. If you're watching, you're invited. Maybe one of the mods can put a link on the chat, and then tell them what it takes to be in this contest, real quick.
Um, you mean just like
The
someone who
rules.
makes a cabochon? Oh, the
Yeah.
rules? Okay. All right. So there
There's
are a few
rules
rules.
involved, people.
Right. There are a few rules. One, this is like creating a normal cabochon, something that has a domed top, a flat back, and has a little bit of girdle. That's completely up to you. The height of the dome, the height, how much girdle you give it, all that kind of stuff is completely up to you. We do have some photo requirements for entry. taking a picture of the slab, for example, before you cut it, um, a side profile so we can see that it's a domed cabochon, and then a front view so we see the composition that you provided. And then what else was there? That's about it.
So hey, look.
Look at
There's
that.
one. There's one now. Oh, wait, wait, wait. Before we talk about this incredible work of art,
Whoa, turtle. Good on you, turtle.
yeah, thank you so much. That was a vigorous, vigorous bell ringing for your incredible generosity. There are new members, and now we've got this. Karen's pump took a dump, rolled over her chain with a thump. Looky here, sand disappeared. Cat ate it. Wow, that's weird. Smashed her finger and shed a tear. Okay, you know what, dude? The if I had my ukulele in arm's reach, then I'd be a playing you a song. But I'll go ahead and put that together and I will play that for you next time. And oh my gosh, wait, hold on a second. Wait, but wait, there's more.
Round two.
Okay, I'm gonna totally take myself out with that one of these times, but you'll all be here and it'll be worth the money. Ammonite from the kitty's rear. Now it's a dog. But that's all right. We'll just go Ammonite from Lily's rear. Sunstones have a special shine when they come from a dog's behind. Poke it, spread it with a stick. Neighbors think Karen's sick. Dude, you are hired, man. Nobody else has like songwriters as top shelf as Mr. Turtle Montana. Thank you so much for that too. Like I don't know, maybe foraging through poo isn't so bad after that kind of money.
For
Thank you.
real.
I appreciate you very much. Thank you, Mr. Turtle Montana. Now, I wish this was bigger. I had it bigger, sexier in the slideshow, but yeah, that just wasn't to be. And if I open it in the browser, I have to open one every single time. So we're just gonna do this. But tell us a little bit about this, Caleb.
That's a bit of kind of mossy plumy agate that I cut in for this live edge shape. The inside there, that big chasm that I left in there, is full of botryoid, like little fuzzy botryoidals. And a cool feature about that is you can see that a lot of it is gone, but when you turn it over, the back side of it, that chasm actually continues up near the top left corner of that. And so
Oh
there's quite
wow.
a bit to look at there. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, that like fuzzy bots. You're just insane if you don't love fuzzy bots. Right? And Rufo wants to say, who hasn't accidentally picked up wild animal poop when rock hounding? I'm guilty more than once for sure. Caleb, have you done that?
I probably have at some point or another.
Okay, Tomcat Josh is saying that he doesn't qualify either. But I will add to this. I will tell you, Rufo, that stuff on the beach, and you probably have done this too. Like the seagull poop can be so many cool colors,
Mhm.
and even other kinds of poop during like berry season. You're just like, wow, that is going to be spectacular. And you go to pick it up, and like, hopefully, right before you get to it, you realize, like, oh, no, actually, that's just, so a dropping. And also, I get the bait and switch from jellyfish too. Do you
Mm,
you hunt the beach?
yeah.
So have you done that?
Uh-huh. Yeah. That blue. We get like these blue jellyfish here that roll in sometimes, and yeah, it's kind of deceiving. And some of them get like those blades kind of on them when they dry out. And
Oh, the
yeah.
by the moon sailors, Yeah, those guys,
Hmm.
Vela Valella or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, the blade sometimes will fool you into thinking there's an agate sitting in the rocks.
big time, yeah. How many times I have, like, reached down and been all like, oh, because you only have a limited number of bend over from the waists at the beach, and then it starts to be a bit of a pain,
Then you just start
and
crawling around. You just
you
don't get
do.
back up.
Yeah, you kinda do. Like, you, like, hit the just bent over position. It's beach rock hounding yoga. Um, and so we are going to let's see if I can do this. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I have to just find the screen. We're gonna look at the next one. Here we go. All right. And so this here is what's mandated for the contest. What are we looking at?
This is a side profile view so you can see the girdle and the dome and the stone.
Right on. And what's this?
That would be the slab before I cut it. And you can see I took quite a bit off of it and then it ended up breaking in the early on in the grinding process because of some internal fractures. So the shape changed. But I'm actually really happy. As much as I wanted to get that whole crevice right there in one big cabochon, it still turned out fantastic.
Heck yeah. Yeah. And let us know what this material is here.
It's some kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like a mossy agate, but instead of having those big wispy moss, it kind of has these little plumy like bursts that look like little plants, kind of, or flowers or something like that, just kind of poking through in little sections.
Yeah.
But I really
That's
love the
amazing.
color, the richness of that kind of brown color, and then those greens just really pop.
Yeah. Yeah. That is outstanding. And it seems like, yeah, here's one more. Ooh, look at that shine. Oh my gosh.
And there you can see
So
those
nice.
botryoidals, and it goes all the way up into the corner there. And so because there's so much missing and that crevice kind of goes up into there like that, I left the cab thicker to kind of, give it that extra stability in case it was ever set or something like that. But that's okay. I'll probably hold on to this thing forever. I do
In
like
case it was ever set, like, of course it's gonna get set, right?
maybe, maybe I'm hoping to be able to do that at some point. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so if, like we're now looking at one of Ryan's here, but if you were to set that, how would you? Do you have do you have a vision in your head? Would it be a wire wrap? Would it be something that's traditional jewelry making? Would it be something that's, completely unique? Like, do you think?
If I had a thought into it, I would like probably to see fully silver on the back, except where the crevices have that all cut away so it can just hang like that, and maybe have the silver plate a little thicker on the back so it provided a little bit more stability to it, integrity. And then yeah, just a real simple bezel around, and then but not creeping into that, maybe just coming around the corners where that live edge starts or something like that. But I would love for it to see through it. I don't want something back there that you would see.
All right. Yeah, I imagine it definitely being kind of floaty. And
Mm.
so I know that you're going to endeavor into getting into some silversmithing here soon, right?
Yeah, I'm hoping to this year get the rest of the tools that I need and then start dabbling in because yeah, I do primarily cut cabs and stuff, but I have wire wrapped and created other jewelry items and also like drilling stones for pendants and that kind of thing. But I would really love to set some stuff. I think I have some cool ideas that would be fun to do.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see what it is that you create on account that you have the tendency to like doing the free forms for obvious
Mhm.
reasons. I mean, it's not like you're like standard form lapidary guy.
Right.
And so it'll be interesting because it offers a whole new realm of troubleshooting and
Mhm.
compositional opportunities when you're doing something that is more freeform or a live edge like this. And so I always am interested in how people envision finishing pieces like this.
Yeah,
And so,
it might put a cool mindset for me. And like right now, I'm always looking for like a unique way to kind of tackle a stone, whether that's the cut or orientating it so it captures cool details in the rock or something. But I'm not really thinking so much after the fact. Like I do have the intention for them to be set in jewelry, so I am thinking about moving it along to the next person. But I'm not thinking about the composition of what comes next necessarily. And so that might add a cool element when I'm cutting and polishing to think like, oh, well, if I kind of do this or this, I can start to envision further past and maybe, do things a little bit differently. So we'll see what happens.
yeah, I do think that when you marry some of these art forms together, it does have you looking at each one a little different. That I definitely create cabochons differently because I know that's like this is the way I like a cabochon if it lands in my lap. You know, these are the qualities about it that make it easy for me to work with, and then especially the shapes. You know, this is enticing, this not so much, you know. And so it'll be interesting to watch you change there, and it's something that I would love to hear about all of you guys. Like, you know, do you prefer something that's a little bit more standard, like your oval, square, marquee, a teardrop, those kinds of shapes, as opposed to do you like working with something that's a little bit more on the freeform side, or just aesthetically, which one is more pleasant to you? I would love to hear that from you guys. And so right now we're looking at Ryan's. So you want to talk us through what we're looking at here?
Yeah, I believe this was like a type of jasper, and then it has that really cool quartz seam coming right up through it, and then it being orientated there at the top and just opening up kind of like a mouth. I thought it was really cool. I like the shape. I like how we centered that quartz vein around it. That I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like a zipper. Like,
Right?
yeah, I just love that. And you know, some people over on the Discord were talking about how it's kind of heart-shaped too.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, yeah, like like an unzipping heart or something. I just that is so flippin' cool. I really do like this guy. And then I had to do this before. Okay. I keep on wanting to I'm julieing this where, you know, I want to manipulate the one on the screen instead of actually. So we have another view here up that quartz chasm.
Looks like
That's
there's
pretty
some good
nice.
crystal points in there.
Yeah, yeah. And what's exciting about this, and congratulations, Jeff. I'm seeing that it's going by that you made the 1K. Congratulations so much on that. Um, one of the things that I think almost everybody is going to experience if they try this challenge, which I very much endorse you to do, is that the different approach to being able to protect some of the stuff that you don't want to have go away
Hmm.
is really significant.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll see some more of that here in a minute, I'm sure. I think one
Yeah,
of them
yeah,
we can talk about further in detail
yeah.
about that. But yeah, you definitely want to be careful when you're, roughing out these areas that have the sensitive bits, it's very easy to just start busting out quartz crystals and ruining botryoidal stuff, it's just, and if you have kind of like in my piece, some of those edges, they're kind of like really tapered edges as they kind of creep over in the front there. So, it's really easy to mess up. So there's like little tips and tricks you can kind of work through that to keep everything intact. So, yeah.
We would love to hear some of those. We'll continue, but yeah, if you feel inspired to share some of the tips and the tricks. And hello, Brian and Julie, welcome on in here. And it's funny, Jeff said that now that he's met 1K, he has to do a giveaway dough.
Ah,
Well, we're looking forward to that. But yeah, still congratulations. The pitfalls of success, right? Now you got to do a giveaway. And so here we're looking at the profile. And so
yeah,
we have
looks
the
good.
girdle and the
Yeah.
dome.
Decent doming, decent girdle, like it works. It's pretty uniform. It's what we're looking for. You know, it's just all part of like the idea of it being a uniform piece.
Excellent. Yeah, and, boy, I am empathizing with his finger protection right now. And so here's another view, and this is really interesting. Actually, you know, there's people here that are absolutely seasoned veteran professional cabbers in the chat, and I'm sure viewing. And then there's people that are just getting started. And what I like about this particular view is like, how many times do you look at this view when you're making a cab, Caleb?
Constantly. Constantly. And I don't only look with my eyes, I also look with my fingers. You know, you can sometimes the eyes can be it can be a little deceiving when you're looking at a piece. And you know, when I have a cab and I can like feel how even my dome is as I go around it. And you know, I can feel like, oh, there's kind of a hard edge there. There's a lump there or a dip or you know, something, you know, there's just like a lot of ways to really look at it and try to get it more uniform and even. But yeah, you're constantly looking at your work. You're looking for scratches, evenness, everything.
So many things. Oh, I think that it's interesting if you watch somebody work a cabbing machine, a lot of times you're watching them, you know, kissing the wheel with that edge that is the dome side, but it's that also where it meets the girdle.
Hmm.
And you know, you're constantly watching them like, you know, go back and forth on the wheel with that. Well, if you do that too much, you make a spine down like the middle of your piece. And what I think is really interesting is how you handle that, because you have to make that meeting place. But then if you don't work that down and like you said, like do the total braille interview, you know, like
Hmm.
you're
Yeah.
you're trying to feel it out and see like, because a lot of times you can't see unless you, I don't know, if you've got great eyes, then I'm sure you can see all day. But a lot of times I will need to like get my loop out or, you know, put some magnifiers on so that I'm seeing like, are there facets there? Like, did I
Hmm.
make a spine? And then, you know, and then when you're trying to take down the spine, am I making, you know, like
Hmm.
a
Yeah.
golf ball?
Yeah. Someone was asking it like for some tips and tricks on how I do my process earlier today, and so I actually made a quick little video with a computer program I have at work about how I go about kind of starting off my edge and then working my way down, so I have a easy time with my doming. You know, and it's just like cutting that corner that you make every time. Like your first one, you maybe 45 it off your girdle, and then you know you have a new angle there that you need to work down, and it's just about working that evenly as you go, and you just keep cutting those corners off, and eventually you've got this fairly rounded piece you can start rolling and stuff. And you know we'll see. Hopefully they seem to really like the explanation that I gave, and hopefully it'll start to show in their work because yeah, I think they've got potential.
Awesome. And you know, I think that this is a chicken and the egg thing. So when you're making your cabochon, are you making the dome or are you making the girdle? If that makes sense, because you know you're getting down to the ribbon of angle that you created for your girdle. Like I find myself making the girdle exactly the way I want it, and then
Hmm.
I'll clean up the dome. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
is that how you go about it?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, I definitely like I will I get my shape locked in pretty early. You know, because that's pretty important because once you start working your girdle, you don't want to go back you can, but you know, if you have to go back to reshaping, then you're having to change that girdle line again.
Oh.
And so once I get that shape just right where I want it, and then I start in and get like the angle on the girdle as well. Um I'll start off just working that girdle line and getting that thing just as even as I can by eye, you know, or if I make a mark or something like that, and just get that defined first, and then I'll start working up. Yeah, it's just easy to play with the dome later once because that, you know, if thinking about it from like a jeweler's perspective, that girdle you want it to be as perfect as possible, and if it's a little wonky, it's not really the end of the world. Um,
A
And
wonky
so,
girdle isn't a problem. Too tall of a girdle is, though.
yeah,
You
I could
know?
see
And
that.
so, yeah, like, I'm always like, even if it's, like, this great big fat stone, I'm like, "Okay, but I can take as much of this off, or I can take some of the back off, but I need to make that girdle be what it needs to be." And
How
so
thick
that's
do you
kinda
like your girdle? I'll definitely play by eye, but I'm usually somewhere between like a 16th and an eighth of an inch. And I don't really like to go past that, but I know some people do like thicker stones and run pretty high girdles. But if I do, I tend to run, if I do go past like an eighth of an inch, I tend to create a more rounded over edge on for my where that is, so that way they can kind of creep up as far as they want because it's tapered in and curved really nicely instead of having a more defined girdle line. And so I don't know if that necessarily helps. It makes sense in my mind because you can run the silver up gradually to whatever you like. But yeah, higher domes, more rounded girdle.
Right. So this is bezel wire. This is an example. You know, some people mill their own. This is some that was purchased. This is about as tall as you usually get it. You can get it a little bit taller than this, but this is pretty like bombastically tall girdle wire already. And then let me just take a thick cab from over here. Here's kind of like a bigger cab, like, which isn't, it's not like huge by a lot of people's standards, but that's starting to be like bigger than, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, I'm gonna have to probably mill my own bezel for this because I decided to make it a big fat stone. And so it just depends. Is your piece, you know, for viewing? Are you going to put it in a, shadow box? Are you going to create an array of different cabs that are examples of different kinds of geology? Great. If they're to be specimens, then they can be whatever shape and whatever depth.
Right.
That's great,
Yeah.
and just put a great shine on it. But then if you are setting it, if you have the intention of doing like a fabrication style or something that is a standard thing, then yeah, you have some things to pay attention to. Like that's pretty fat wire,
Yeah.
but still. And so then there's like wrapping and
Yep.
there's prongs and there's there's like a whole barn full of things that you can throw at it anyway. And so it's not like a drawback if you're thinking, oh shoot, I just made a cab and it's not going to be settable. Not at all. Don't panic because we're
Right.
going to talk about that too. So we'll bring this back up here. I think that there was something else. Was there? Oh, I'm clicking on the thing again. Okay, Karen. Yeah. And so here's the slab here. And actually, the down in the bottom, or no, towards the mid side of it. Let's see if I can get the cursor in the right place. There we go. Like there's where that cab exactly came from, which I think is pretty cool to be
Mm,
able to see.
definitely.
And so that's part of the agenda is that you take a picture of the rough, and then we get to see what that all looks like. Um, and so let me get to the next one. And meanwhile, how long have you been cabbing?
I started in around like 17 or 18, um, sandpaper and Dremel style, with opals and softer stones, some turquoise and things like that. And then I forget if it was 20 or 21 when I got my cabbing machine and then started doing that.
All right. And so like relative to, if we don't know how old you are now, like that's a long time, like a decade?
What you would not
Are you
quite.
are
How
you
many years?
how old are
Yeah.
you? Or
I'll
if you don't
be
want to disclose that, then like it's just been a while. You've been at it for a while.
I almost working on 10 almost 10 years, a little short.
Sweet. Right
Yeah.
on.
I'm
And
34, by the way. Or I'll
yeah,
be
so
34 this year. Holy shit. Sorry.
well, Well, and you said that you started at 21, I
No,
believe?
in 21. In 21
Oh,
was when
okay.
I got my machine.
Oh, gotcha.
But since like 17, 18 is when I started, 2017 or 18 is when I started working on stones.
Oh, wow, so you've come a long way in a short while.
Kinda, it seems. Doesn't seem sometimes.
Yeah, no, I think that the caliber of what you put out is definitely, in an upper echelon, and I've known of folks that have been at it for a longer period of time, like, that kinda surprises me that you haven't been at it for longer. So, take it any which way you want. And, uh, good to see you. Patrick is in the house, and so is Kurt, and, your stone is coming up here soon, and I wanna make sure that I'm not missing anybody else. Thank you so much, uh, for all y'all hanging out and, making sure that Jeff made his 1K and all the goods. And Sierra Rockounder is here too. And so we've got, Wisconsin Rockstocka, and what we're looking at here is the rough. And so we'll take it right on over to here is the cab. Now, the fact that that came from that, like, good on you, sir, first of all.
Right. Put in some work on that bit, the chunk.
Yeah, right. You've got more vision than me, man, because like I wouldn't have seen it. And we've got the live edge going on right here on the side, and so it meets that criteria. And we're seeing it on this side too.
Hmm. He got a
Almost
fantastic polish on that piece. It just like screams at you with that light.
right. We all love the wet look. And I'm not
Hmm.
happy. Like I'm down, still at the cabber at 2 a.m., like trying to make it look wet when it's not anymore,
Hmm.
you know? Like that's the deal. And is that druzy? It looks like it's got a druzy on the side there.
It
Those look
does.
angular. I wouldn't have caught that had this particular perspective not been shared. And this is the side view so that we have that. And here's a little video. I hear a rock tumbler. Yeah, that is so cool.
It kind
I
of
really
sneaks
like
on you because, like in the first picture, you can't really see the crystals on the bottom half of it, and then you give us the side view or the video, and you're like, "Oh, it goes all the way down."
wait, what? Yeah. And that again, here we have a freeform cabochon. How in the world would you set that?
Being that there's not a lot of that upper edge, maybe prong or something like that, or wire wrap it, maybe.
Uh-huh. Because you'd want to, me in my vision, and you guys in the chat, please jump in. I would want that druzy facing up. And so I would probably make the kind of like maybe a shorter necklace that uh had the bail on two sides of the stone, and so that that whole druzy was like sitting up so that the sun would be sparkling down on the druzies
Right.
the whole time. I don't know about y'all. um and then, what for a jewelry artist, like, that is where the fun begins, is like, "Ooh, ooh, okay, so how in the world do you do that and make it artistic?" And that's exciting to me anyway.
Yeah, fun to play around. These make it a lot more interesting than your standard shapes where you're just wrapping it around or whatever. You have to get a little bit more creative with these pieces.
Oh, for sure. And, it's a want to, not a have to, for sure. Like, it's always indulgent, when we get to play with stuff like that. We've got Kurt here, and Kurt's in the house, so good to see you. And that one from before was, Wisconsin Rockstalker, and I don't know if I saw yeah, awesome. Wisconsin is here in the house too, so give props to that gorgeous piece. It's not going to be tough, Wisconsin. It's going to be fun to figure out how to present that piece for sure. I think it would make it just a super cool piece when done. And so I like this one a lot.
I love this submission. Having it
Okay,
come
let's
in from
hear
two
what you have
sides
to
is
say.
I just love well, obviously the color and the pattern is super rich and there's a lot to look at here. But I love the idea of coming in from two directions for the live edge. I think that, will give you all kinds of cool ideas on how to, set that or mount it or do whatever. And yeah, just overall great cab. Love the character and yeah, I was really looking forward to him when I was watching him work on this. This is great.
Heck yeah. And so Boots saying Kurt's cabs and wraps are perfect, which I agree with. My wire wrapper does flatbacks, never questioned it. Maybe some people never put the trunk in the tank to understand what's real. And thank you for that. And what I think is interesting about this is that, yeah, it is the obverse of what you're expecting. So already your eyes are just going, "What am I even looking at?"
Right.
And then the fact that still, as far as the composition of the stone itself, I know he didn't command nature to do this, but or maybe he did. But the fact that all the fortification lines are kind of like enveloping towards the center actually makes such a cool looking, like, visually, something like this might draw the eye away from itself, if, like, all
Mhm.
of the action was going towards the outside of the stone because
Right.
of this fissure through the inside, but instead, conversely, the where the stone is, all of the action is going towards the center. And
Right.
so, like, this stone couldn't have composed itself any better. What a
Yeah.
good eye Kurt has for this one. I'm so
Excellent.
stoked on this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. One of
I
my favorite
smiled so big.
submissions this time around.
Yeah, yeah, like, I'm trying not to. I am completely indifferent and non-biased. But but Kurt, dude, super sweet job here. And he's talking about being confused, and so, you know Kurt's one of the most humble dudes I know. And so let's have a look at what else he oh man, I keep on clicking on that. At one point during this live stream, I might learn. And so we have a beautiful dome top here, and some really nice, very even girdle,
Yeah.
which is lovely to see. I know that he's been doing a ton of twisting, doing the wrapping, and so I wonder if he also is like, "I'm gonna be super behaved about the the girdle of
Maybe.
this thing."
Are you gonna wrap this one, Kurt? What are you gonna do with it, huh?
Yeah, we need to know. Inquiring minds need to know. Yeah, super, super beautiful. And here is another tree. Look at how many girdles are this pretty? Like, this would be hard for me to cover.
Right. That banding is awesome. I don't think we said the name of this material, did we? It's travertine.
Oh, yeah, thank you. No, we're dropping the ball. I'm heavy on the aesthetic side. I'm like just talking about all the things I like about it instead of like, yeah, we're rock people. This is this thing. It's travertine people. And I think that this was self-collected, is it not?
I believe so.
Yeah. Very, very nice. Oh yeah, everybody's like, it's a stunner. It's stunning, sweet material. You're fabulous. And so in the case of something like this where there is such a like just an amazing side, profile to a stone, oftentimes I will figure out something other than a bezel.
Mm.
Like this would be somewhere where I was like, okay, that's too rad. It needs prongs. Just do
Mm.
something really Spartan around the outside to just hold the thing on.
What I
And
really like about this kind of cut too is that, like when you think about seam agates, a lot of people cut through the seam so you see all the banding, and less people cut across the banding so you don't get as much out of it. But what like he has in this here is all the banding is on the side, and so when he cuts down from the top, it creates these pillows, like cloudy pillows, and I love that in agates, and I wish more people did those kind of cuts. They're not very common, and I love it.
yeah, stop hating pillows, people. Cut the pillows. And so here we're looking at the rough stuff. And, this would be hard for me to cut. I wouldn't know where to start. What about you?
It's a good beginner stone too for people. We use these when since I'm part of the local rock club, we have a juniors program. And when we bring equipment out on like our lapidary day and stuff, I usually cut up chunks of travertine and have the kids practice polishing on the machines with travertine. So it's soft, it's easy to work, and it takes a really good polish.
Nice. That's good to know. Those of you who have accessibility to travertine, knowing that it's going to give back to you, like in a nice way. Whenever you look at the rough, I think it's always interesting to see what somebody ends up with as far as what their selection is. A lot of times people ask me, like, why, is the back so fancy and the top didn't look as good on a cab? This is not one of those cases, but like, a lot of times you don't know that the top's not gonna be as good as the back when you
Right.
start.
And some things look awesome flat. And then when you start to dome them, and depending on how high that dome is, that can change quite a bit. And you can lose a lot of the things that you really wanted. And so, yeah, I've got pieces that I've abandoned because once I started grinding into it, it just didn't turn out great. And that's just what it is.
Yeah, yeah, and by about, like, the 3rd wheel, you're going, "I'm not into you anymore."
Yep.
And so, Kurt has done us the solid of circling where he decided to create the cabochon out of, and again, looking at the entire piece, like, how many other possibilities and, like, that, out of a bunch of different possibilities, you choose the right one.
Right. And this is something that I do with some of my customers sometimes. I'll hook them like they come to me with slabs or they get some slabs from me, and sometimes I give them a bunch of my stencils and just be like, just start moving the pieces around and see where something's cool. Because if they want, to commission me to cut something, I want it. If they think they might, find something really pretty in it that I wouldn't have done or whatever, and so I'm like, just play with them, squares, circles, ovals, whatever, and just start messing around, and we'll cut it. And so, it's a great way. Just grab your, if you don't know what direction to go, just if you have some stencils, just start moving it around. You'll find all kinds of cool ways to include the features that you see.
That's great advice. It's wonderful also what you brought up about fresh eyes. Just one more rock. Have a great evening, and thanks for joining us. And yeah, when somebody else like takes a material that you kind of always do a certain way and does something different, I just absolutely love that. Like, oh yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. And here we've got some live shot. Wow, that almost looks like a mermaid's purse. That's cool.
It's all druzy looking in there too.
Ah, geez. Yeah, that just got, like, that much better. And I believe that, Kurt has been creating these on an 8-inch all you need, high-tech flat lap.
Okay.
And so, big, big kudos to you for doing it. I've heard some banter over the last few weeks, guiding people. It seems like there's always somebody who's like contemplating getting one and what the different options are. I absolutely, if that's what you feel like you can use and can afford, get it. Just
Yeah.
get it. I spent like the better part of half a decade cranking out probably, well over 1,000 cabochons on a flat lap, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it
Do it.
is don't feel like it's, gonna hold you back because it doesn't. Yeah.
No, and they're much more versatile than they seem. I mean, like it's kind of obvious because you can do flat face polishing as well as cabbing, and you can't do that with it necessarily with a cab machine. The curved wheels don't allow you to get those really nice, perfectly flat polishes. And so, they're much more versatile in that sense. Albeit, it can take longer to cut a cab with them. And it may be a little more difficult in some ways, but but they're great. They're a much cheaper option. And they don't take up a lot of space and they're quieter. And so, if that just works for you, do it because it beats sandpaper and a Dremel all
Heck
day long.
yeah.
So,
And,
just do it.
Yeah, I was able to take mine to work, you know, in an art gallery. You know, I was able to do lapidary because the thing is a cube that is a foot by a foot.
Right.
And, you know, and like you were saying, Caleb, it's quiet. And so I could be back there grinding on stones while people were looking at artwork on the other side of the gallery, and it was no big deal. And then people would come back and they'd be interested, like, oh, you're making pizza back here. Let us watch, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very
It's-
portable. I bring them like the last lapidary day that we did where for our club where we pull out equipment and stuff. I wasn't gonna lug my big cag king around because it's just too much. And so, I brought that and just to show people that what we just said about the options that it provides for someone, on the cheap. And it's actually really great too to find out if you even like doing it. Hobby dropping is definitely a thing, and it can be hard, and some people, maybe struggle with how difficult it can be to get that perfect polish, or just polishing in general to be what you want it to be. And so, it's a entry level kind of way to get into it and see if it's what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah, and just my point is that it doesn't have to be an entry level machine. Like, I
No,
was
right, no,
professional with it for quite some time, you know, I just got my cabber, and
right.
so, yeah, like,
There's some
I'm
phenomenal
an adult
cutters.
now. Yeah. I just grew up. But no, I was more than abundantly happy with what I was able to do on the flat lap. And again, you know, some of the times that there were solutions that I had to come up with made the creativity happen more.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's all good. And you guys are full of like super neat suggestions here. Like some people at my club actually cut stencils with paper and glue them to the rock for shaping. And
Mm,
I like the approach for different people as far as what they're, you know, wanting to do with the different rocks and how they achieve that. This one really kind of rocked my world too. You guys are making it hella hard to pick a winner this year or
mm,
this month. It's
right.
February. It's just February. And so what we have here is Theo Kellison, and his torn and battered bass playing fingers there are holding on to uh it's a piece of baculite, right?
Yeah, I believe. Was this
Is
the
it
baculite or the
ammonite? Is it
ammonite? I think that one might be
oh
the ammonite.
it might be ammonite. I should probably like if one of the other of us or somebody in the chat wants to go back and look on the Discord. Um, yeah, so what he's done here is the live edge is actually the sutures, you guys.
Yep. That is super cool. I love this. It actually prompted me to get some of the material from him at his recent sale so I could do similar things. I want to play. That looks like a lot of fun to play around.
Right? Like it's the best advertising. Like just making something super cool. But yeah, like, you know, I don't know that I would have thought of such a thing, and yet it is so pleasing, particularly because and I wish this was a closer shot. I don't know that my next one is any better. Um but no, it's just this the profile. But the way that the pattern of the sutures are going along with the yeah, you can see it well from the back here, actually. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's mirrored in that nice raw edge,
Yep.
which aesthetically is incredibly pleasing, you
Yes.
know?
It's
Yeah.
exactly why I got it. It's just wonderful. This is a very unique cabochon and the natural features of that pattern are just very unique. I mean, they're all unique crystal, whether it's crystals or botryoidals or whatever, but that is very unique.
Ah, man, yeah, this one blew me away, but it's very seldom that Theo doesn't like hit me up at 2 a.m. like, "Hey, check this thing out that I just did." And I'm like, mind blow. All yeah. And so look so it's an ammonite. We're looking at the amylite from the ammonite in that piece, and then we're looking at the structure of the uh, sutures down this line, and they're is our pay dirt. I wish that was bigger for you guys because, well, you got to go over to the Discord.
Yeah, I was gonna say, go to the Discord, go blow it up on your computer. It is wonderful to look at in detail.
Absolutely. And so what Caleb is talking about is if you are over on our Discord channel, then you can see actually in this picture right now, it says open in browser. And you can go ahead and pop that up in a whole nother window. And you can like it is like magnified. You can like look and see if there's any scratches on it. I mean, it is fantastic, which I know that Jahik never does this.
Oh, okay.
To anybody.
Oh, that's too
um,
funny.
yeah, yeah. So Theo is a badass. That's true. And yeah, Ammonite, thank you so much, Melissa, and also Lisa chimed in with that as well. This is amazing. And so Mo was talking about her vintage machine. We were talking about the high tech flat lap, but there's also several ways to achieve a flat lap if you can't get into a cabber right away, or you don't want to go that direction. You don't have to have a cabber. You could just be a flat lapper. Um, there are not only the vintage machines that are just beholden to being a flat lap, but also I know that Theo used his uh, fastening machine as a flat lap for a really long time. And so they have great motors, they are flat. And so whatever it is that you can get your hands on. You were talking about like the hobby thing, Caleb, and there's a lot of people who hobby out of something, and there's these like old machines either at estate sales. This is up your alley. You might want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about how you can get some used equipment, how easy that is.
Okay. Definitely like a great resource for that would be like joining a local club because oftentimes they store equipment or have some sometimes for sale or stuff they've picked up. All of the marketplaces online, whether that's Facebook or like Marketplace or eBay or just like a number of different sites that you can go look through local things for that. Yard sales, estate sales, and you can even look at some online auction sites. There's a number of them that are rock related ones specifically, and then just you can just kind of broadly search for equipment in other areas and see if someone's willing to ship. It might be a little expensive, but that's definitely a way to acquire a specific machine if that's what you're looking for. But like with my equipment, all except for my cab machine and my high tech flat lap, all the rest of my equipment came from estate sales. And so, a great way to find out about rock estate sales is looking at listings, but also clubs will often catch wind of something and put it out to their. That's what we do in our club. When an estate's coming up, someone usually in the family will contact us and we'll put it out to the club, set up times and all that kind of thing. And so, you can get stuff really cheap that way. If you're able to go to shows, you can often find them sometimes. Courtside's a great place to find used equipment and vintage equipment and even aside from that, getting something that's already been made, there are a number of YouTube videos of do-it-yourself lapidary equipment, and especially flat laps. And so, if you're a little bit handy or know someone who's handy, you might be able to get by on the cheap, making your own kind of setup. So, there's a lot of different ways to get into it.
That's great advice. Absolutely. And so I think that one of Ma's points also is that like that is an entirely metal machine. They don't make them like they used to, and that was also the thing with Theo. He has a Graves, I think, fastening machine, and then he did get a high tech flat lapper. But he was doing a lot of cabbing on the flat lap. That was the fastening machine before that, and he got the Graves for not terribly expensive because it's an older model, and yet it facets all day great, and it is completely metal like Ma was saying. Like there's not that much that can go wrong on it. that, either you can't replace, or that, is not falling, it's not going to fall apart anytime soon.
Right.
It's bomb
Yeah, the
proof.
old equipment was built heavy duty, built to last, and
Yep.
craftsmanship was really something they strived for, and yeah, they're great. If you can get them, they're great.
For sure. And so don't feel bad if that's where you're starting. Actually, you might be starting at the top, you know, like because you can't get a new thing. Like, no, really, some of the old stuff is better.
And I can speak to that personally because when I first started getting into lapidary and stuff, I passed up on a lot of really good vintage machines that were very cheap because I didn't know any better and I didn't know like how great they were. I was like, oh man, this little kind of piece of junk or something like that. And it's like, don't necessarily think that. Some of them are, kind of, might be a little difficult to change the wheels because you have like this massive arbor going the full length of the machine and you have to slide everything on, but they are built well, and you can refurbish them pretty easily in most cases. So yeah, don't
Yeah.
overlook them.
Definitely not. And some of the lapidary machines like that have independent motors. And so
Hmm.
all you have to do is just buy a motor if that goes wrong. And that's one of the things that I think is just amazing is that, oh, you just need like a quarter horsepower motor, like boom, or whatever it is. And so yeah, like some of that stuff back then is keep it simple, stupid. And you got to love that.
Hmm.
And so uh thank you so much, you guys, for Craigslist and gem and mineral shows and all your super suggestions. We've got Cheryl here with the rough and the beginning of the cabochon right there. And I don't know if I saw Cheryl here, but it's Cheryl Revere is the one that's responsible for this beautiful thing. And let's cruise on over. Look at that.
Beautiful. Did a
Yeah,
really good job getting the composition on that piece.
agree, agree. Um, and Ryan is saying many times just need to find a good motor. Yeah, exactly. And figure out how to mount it. Now, if you're a machinist, like, or, handy again, like Caleb was saying, with you know your way around the tools and doing some light building of things, then that's not intimidating. But if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily know about that stuff, it's super cool that some of these lapidary machines literally, like, you might have to replace wheels and a belt and a motor, and those things are really super easy if you're just talking about like a component that you just like, okay, this is where it goes, this is where it slides in. And so, yeah, taking a look at that stuff. And again, you can always interview the person who is selling the item to find out. But I've even tinked with some of the old things and made them run and am amazed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good. And so again, over here at Cheryl Revere's beautiful cabochon, it looks like a lace agate of some kind. What are you thinking?
Yeah,
Did
looks
she
about right.
say? Yeah.
I'm not sure if she said. I'd have to go back and look.
But we've got like a generous, and this is kind of like where my eye goes is I love that we are in this competition are supposed to show this, but this shows me a lot. Like, this is a very high bezel on a low stone,
Hmm.
as far as like the percentage. And so
Right.
this is like, explain a little bit about maybe what I'm talking about and what might be a sweet spot as far as how much of that girdle do you want as opposed to how much dome?
Um, Typically, I would run that because that looks like about like a quarter-inch slab or so, or
Yeah.
finished stone, and which is pretty standard. And so typically for me, I would run, like I said about it before, about a 8-inch girdle, um, which is splitting it like right in half, and then you're using the rest to dome. Now, and that's not perfect. No, not all slabs come the same way. I usually try to maximize and reduce the amount of work that I have to do to achieve what I'm trying. And I will run super high domes on for some stones, But this is something that you would generally expect, I think, from someone first getting into it, and that's actually what we have in this case with Cheryl, is someone who's just now starting her lapidary journey, I think, with a machine at least. And
Yeah.
so this is like what you would expect, someone who's kind of just barely skirting down and getting the domed profile on a cabochon and polishing it out. And I did a lot of this when I first started. It's all just kind of, I think, part of the journey. If you don't have some experienced person over your shoulder kind of telling you what to do, and that this is fantastic,
Oh,
and lots
yes.
of people even like these cabs, but it is like a lower profile dome, and that's okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
still do that on occasion as well. It just depends on what I'm working with. But
Yeah, that wasn't judgment as
no,
much as just a like an observation of, the different I guess uh percentages, the balance that you can do. But say you were doing um a labradorite cabochon, it's probably going to look like that.
yeah, because you don't want to get too far away from that color. I'm going to say bar in this instance, even though it's not a color bar, but you
Right.
want that generally flatter surface for that, so it gets the shine on
Big
the same
time.
plane. Plane's probably a better word for that.
Yeah, yeah. And so it's, this is a valuable approach to a cabochon. It's always interesting to me to see the profile, again, given like that I'm usually the person setting something. And
Right.
we're back to so yeah, I would presume that this was some kind of a lace, like just looking at the whole piece there. Beautiful, beautiful submission. Very, very well done, Cheryl. And I do want to make sure that everybody out there knows that this is like for everybody. If this is your very first cabochon ever, still just pop it up into the competition. You never know.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'd like to make a
I-
note on that. We do have like a requirements section for this about it being domed and having a girdle and all this, but it does not have to be perfect.
no.
You submit what, like, think of it more as a goal to achieve. Like that is what we're wanting in the stone. So like make an attempt at it, but we're not gonna. No one's getting crucified over it not being like perfectly domed or anything like that. Like just we're all gonna do this together, and that's the idea, is just participating in something together. And and so it's okay. Try.
Definitely. Like, if anything, we're hoping that you're inspired to join. That's the idea, is that like if you're needing a little bit of a boot in your butt to like, get going on a project or something like that, the competitions are supposed to be that kind of inspiration where like, hey, you might not have had a goal before. Now you do. Like,
Right.
make a cabochon, and it wants to have this particular thing. Try something new. If you haven't tried a live edge cabochon, then pop on in. And I know that Melissa said that she had like multiple possibilities as far as what she was going to put into the competition. And so not only does she have a cabochon from this, but she also has like maybe 3 or 4 other ones. And so whereas she might have not have had any live edge ones before this competition, now she's got like multiples. That's like a win in anybody's book if you're trying to get work done, you know?
Yeah, and this is like a really good example of kind of breaking the normal boundaries of like creating cabochons, because most people are falling within the stone, not doing live edge kind of thing. So this is very a pretty obscure type of a way to kind of cut these things, and so it really gets people out of their comfort zone to try this. And it's a lot of fun, and so yeah. I've done them before. It was fun to do it again, and I do cut them on occasion. So it's good. It's good to get out of like your comfort zones, and that's kind of the idea of the themes of this, is trying things that you might not have done before with shaping or the type of material or this kind of feature oriented theme.
And then, on the obverse of what you just said, if you haven't made like 5 cabochons in your entire life, a live edge one might be nice because it doesn't have the same, expected look that some of the other cabochons have.
Yeah.
Like you have this thing in your mind where you're like, "Oh gosh, I have to make this thing look like a cabochon because that's, I'm a beginner, but it needs to look this way." This doesn't have to. So, you can go ahead and have some fun with it, and I think that like makes it both interesting for folks that are seasoned cabbers to even being very accessible to like somebody who's just starting out.
Yeah.
So, Ma, nice job. I know. Well, okay, she says she made 5. I thought it was somewhere in
Jeez.
that basic number, which is great. Like now you have, 5 cabochons rattling around that you get to do some fun stuff with. And uh let's see. So Travis, welcome in. I suck at making jewelry cabs, so I let everybody else do it. What I think is cool is that, you have found your niche with making the lures. And so, another awesome thing to think about, all of you with gravid minds thinking on your rocks. Well, if cabbing isn't your jam, what might it be? Because I don't know if y'all have seen Travis's lures, but not only are they absolutely gorgeous, and I'm talking about the lures that you catch fish with, but they actually work. And so, go look at some of those those videos, and I know that they're available, so you can also get one if you need it.
Yeah, you can do some carving in a sense with a calving machine. Like I've made stone knife blades before, and that was a lot of fun to attempt, so it's not the only, you don't just have to make calves, you can do other stuff.
You can, I guess. You know it's because it is interesting to hear what different people do with their stones, and that was part of the theme for tonight is, what is it that you do? Are you, like, more into, accumulating, the specimens? And cabs are a specimen item. Like, you would be happy to have this very cab as an ocean jasper specimen. Like, why not?
And oh, and speaking of specimens, I spent a lot of time when I first got my machine, and I still do today. Instead of doing flat face polished specimens, I will do rounded domed specimens, like actual chunks of rock, and just kind of go with the flow of what the features are and just polish it over. And those are just as good as like a flat face polish. They can be really neat getting in all the little features that you would get like that. So there's,
Absolutely.
you can just have fun doing that all day long.
Y'all have seen Kyle do that. He'll face something for everybody to have a look at. And so, by all means, this is a way to, um if you create a cabochon from something that is rough, you can present it as a specimen because you have taken the roughness away from it so that you can see what the beauty of the thing is. And so, it definitely works that way. Here's the side profile. And so she's got one. She's very particular. And so, like, her girdle and doming is fairly surgical, and I
Hmm.
absolutely love that. I would this is the kind of stone that I love receiving when I have commission work. Like, no no meddling on my part needs to happen. I can just
Right.
yeah, I can just set it. And so there's another look at the original. And so you can think, like, if you were the person that owned this little slablet, would you prefer it to be in this, would you present it this way as the specimen, or would you rather have it be the cabochon that she made out of it? And, this also being an amazing potential for a piece of jewelry.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the shape, and getting in that live edge there on the lower corner is just awesome. One of my favorite features about this piece, not only is it the hole going right through the center and then down a little bit, But if you look right above the bottom tipped and to the left, that little like growth or like crystal bloom right there looks like it's like barely holding on in there. It looks like it's just kind of like fit into place like that little circle. And it's really cool that she was able to keep it in there, which kind of speaks to what we were talking about earlier about the ways in which you can stabilize something so that way you can accomplish something like this. um in my mind, you know, if I tried to take the rough wheels to that, it would probably vibrate and break out, and you would just lose that feature. And so what she did in this piece was filled it with epoxy, right? And
Yeah. Oh, I love
stabilized
this.
all of those
Yeah.
empty vugs to hold everything in place while she did all of her shaping and polishing, and then removed it later. You know, and that's something you can do to preserve features. You know, it's a very unique and wonderful way to do that, and really good job.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like I've heard of people using like CA and like the I, I'm thinking of the B-72, but like I was thinking B-52s for a second there. Uh, it's Friday night, you guys. And so yeah, you can stabilize aspects and then give them an acetone bath later and be able to preserve. And so if that ignites your mind, let it, because there are different ways around solutions,
Hmm.
creative solutions that would make it so that you can do the thing that you want. I mean, like that little floret at almost the tip of this particular piece that is, like a radiating crystal bot, is impossible,
Yeah.
but it's there. And it's so freaking cool. And so
Yep.
how would you set this, Caleb?
Oh, I think the shaping being that elegant and stuff, this seems very prong worthy to me. Just really simple, let the stone do all the talking kind of thing, because there's so many characteristics to it. So you would just want little prongs to come over and just let the stone be there.
Yeah, I agree, and there would be a way to make it completely open backed, and you could thread the silver or whatever you backed it with in the positive space so that all of the negative spaces would be see-through.
Right.
Would be the way that I would see this done. And of course, I'm seeing embellishing stones like, a nice strawberry sunstone with, the pink schiller would be really cool with this, as well as something like, one of the sage green sapphires from Montana, or
Oh yeah.
perhaps, something like that. Yeah. So I'm always like, I have completed the jewelry piece in my head right now.
That's
um
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, this is really nice. And so those are your submissions, although there is one more over there on the Discord that Kurt, I think he finished it last night, maybe during a really late night live, I'm not entirely sure. And then actually a couple more submissions. So if you guys have like if you want to look at a little bit more eye candy, did he take that down? He did. No, it's right here. Um we'll look at this little bit more eye candy if you've got the time, Caleb.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I want to treat you guys, like, this has been such a wonderful exploration towards like some different approaches to lapidary. I love this so much. Thank you, Caleb, for putting this on, and then also thank you, Ma, for coming up with this particular contest, since if you win the contest, which Ma did during January, you get to choose the theme for the next month. And that's why everybody's doing Live Edge. And so we've got this Slamaline, it looks like, here. And here I am trying to click the picture instead of the actual thing. And so here's the back, I believe.
Hmm.
And there's like the salamalini side to it. I just love, this is like you playing, everybody out there. Go play.
Yeah.
Go play. See what kind of materials you have and what kind of weirdness you can cajole out of it. As
No.
you know, you want to.
Yeah. Just have fun with it. There's so many
Right.
different ways you can tackle this hobby, and so it's like as long as you're having fun and enjoying it, go for it.
Yeah. Oh, Val. Hey, Val, I need to talk to you. Oh, here comes some live action. So we got the bots on the top. There's that beautiful um I love the Salamoline side where we get to see like what is going on there with those crazy bots.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, thank you for sharing that. The whole thing is live. So not quite a cab, but I like that he
Right.
was inspired to share that with us. Um, and I'm also seeing all of these wonderful comments going by. So I Val, I need to chat with you about that book some more. And you do have my actual number just in case you were wondering about that. We are going to pop down to Ma had a B list. We're going to look at that really quick and then you guys are done.
B list.
Right. And so tell us a little bit about this stone I believe you know a lot about.
Yeah, so that's Napomo marcasite. So there's a handful of places throughout the world where marcasite agate comes from, and one very local to me, just like an hour south of me or less. There's a place called Napomo, and this it produces these really pretty agates with the marcasite. And what's really cool about this stuff is like the marcasite is often very like brecciated and then re-solidified with all the chalcedony and agate, and then also it's known to have like blooms in it as well, which are really cool to see. And yeah, it's just a wonderful material. Takes a crazy good polish, and you don't want to get it wet for long periods of time.
Right? It will oxidize.
It will.
Yeah, yeah, and yet we have a beautiful, configuration here of that marcasite creeping up on the botryoidal, agate, and it's got, like, a profile of the fortification
Hmm.
on this cab, plus some of the clear, and, that marcasite looks really interesting in this particular presentation. Looks very brecciated.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets very broken apart in there. I mean, it doesn't like to like stay together before that agate came along. Oh yeah, you can see one of the blooms right there.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a great cab. That would be hard to know what the top and bottom were, really,
Yeah.
honestly.
I personally I definitely chase the blooms.
Yeah, yeah,
I love
that's
them.
yeah, super, super unusual and gorgeous. And this is actually, I don't know that she knew what material this was. Do you, Caleb?
Um, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I might know, but not offhand at the moment.
It has a beige mossing and then, these forts and bots. So it was very oh man, it just reminds me of a ballet slipper or something like that. And like as far as the color, that like
Yeah.
really, really light ballet pink. And then
Hmm.
we're all thinking like ice cream cone or
Yeah.
something at this point.
Ice cream cone with not enough ice cream.
Right. Like, the ice cream cone that's making you a little sad that you're, like, contemplating if you need another one. Yeah. So really delightful, composition on this once again, since we're selecting from a lot of times slabs, right?
Yeah.
Where either you're holding a stencil over the top of it or you're judging the free form where that might be what the rock wants to do, if it's telling you about like how it wants to be cut with the inclusions that it might have or fractures or what have you, where the bots are, where the features, as Allison
Right.
says. Um, and so yeah, this is a great wrangling of those things, but that's exactly what y'all are looking for with this whole contest is, you know, uh, first, have you got something that live edge is interesting, you know? And then if it's one of those things where you're like, wow, I've actually even been putting it off because I'm not entirely sure how I would frame that so that I get to select that to survive. That
Right.
live edge survives the
Mhm.
cabbing process. Well, this is it, guys.
Yeah. And I had never thought about using UV resin to maintain features when I'm cutting those before. Usually it's like I'm just rough grinding through, and if I lose something, I just keep changing the shape or whatever until it works. But that's a really good way to accomplish that, and I'm glad I know that now. Still learning, always learning.
Well, that's the best thing about, like, honestly, having an entire community that we get to, like, chat with on the daily, basically.
Yep.
We're all able to learn from each other, and no matter how long you've been around, there's still so much that you can learn, and a new
Yeah.
perspective that somebody is going to come up with. Uh,
Yep.
Go ahead and reinvent the wheel some. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. The Discord is a fantastic resource for any of you who don't use it. Um, you can usually find someone who can help you in some manner, and that can be everything from equipment to cutting cabs or gemstones or rough or identification. There's so much there that you can dive into and get help. So check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that also one of the best things about having a forum at all is when you finish something at 2 a.m. or whenever it is that you are finishing. It's so cool to have some place where you can pop it up and somebody is probably there and gonna go like, "Wow!"
Right.
Because you're stoked. And
Yeah. You want to share it and get some of that back, and yeah, it happens a lot. I oftentimes I'll literally just be wiping off my stone, snap a picture and throw it up, and just
totally.
instant reward.
Right? You were talking about, during our lighting conversation, like, what other light is there than the one that's over your cabbing
Right.
machine? Like,
Guilty. All my photos come out of that thing.
yeah. You'll recognize mine for sure. And so, yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily like, join the Discord and become one of us like Zombie Fest or anything like that. It's just that if you are looking for not only the motivation, because, like, again, if you have a goal to set, like, if I know, like, oh wow, it's the 21st and I have until what is the last day of this particular challenge, Caleb?
2 days from now, Sunday night at 11:59. Get it in before midnight.
11:59.
Yeah.
We're
You
not
know,
being
we
exact or anything.
We try to run it about 3 weeks,
Yeah,
for the submission section. So it's a lot of time to try to get it in. And, it's okay if you don't make the cut, get it in try next time, it's fine. This was a, particularly busy time the past couple months with all the uh, Arizona shows going on. So it's understandable. But yeah, get it in and just have fun. That's really what it's about, is having fun. So just go have fun with it.
yeah. That's really what it's all about, especially considering that other than the fact that I showed these rocks on this podcast, it's private. And so it's even like being at, a private beach as opposed to a public one. You don't have to worry about like other people seeing you, just like pop up your thing. And if you're just getting started, there's like a ton of folks that will regale you with like good jobs,
Right.
and they're like meant. It's not like anybody's blowing smoke or anything like that,
Right.
but at the same time, if you're looking for some recommendations and help, suggestions, anything like that, then y'all can find it there. And again, sometimes at 2 a.m. as well, if you're like you ran into like a serious issue. And Where's my submission?
Yeah, I was wondering the same.
It might be like in Lily's poop as well. This has not been a good couple of weeks for me. Who knows? It might happen. Otherwise, it's been such a pleasure to watch. It's like really, really cool to see all of the creativity,
Hmm.
from the vantage point of pleasure and not like competition, honestly, for me.
Right.
It's so cool to just like watch you guys do gorgeous, gorgeous things. And so it's been my pleasure, humbly to watch what all y'all are doing. Just amazing work. Yeah, no pressure. I'm not feeling a bit of pressure. I mean, honestly, don't worry. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's not gonna.
Yeah, it's
It's
okay.
super easy. Yeah.
Right.
And y'all should feel that way too. It should be good. I've got a lot on my docket this month. Hopefully next month is a little bit less. And I love Live Edge. You guys know my Maker's Challenge last year was a Live Edge cab.
Mm,
So, I love the things. And I've been doing a lot of cabbing lately.
makes the time.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens at 2 a.m. tonight. Um,
Yeah.
and so if anybody, like if y'all in the chat have any questions about the cab contest or the Discord, feel free. It's cool. Must saying Live Edge is my jam. So are triangles, like and facets on cabochons and things. And so like that's what I think is so cool is that a lot of times, until somebody I have had so many commissions that pumped me into like a whole new place where I was just like, I didn't know I loved this thing. But now that is like my signature move, you
Right.
know? And so yeah. I encourage everybody, if you've got the time, if you're at all tempted, go out to your rock pile or your slab pile and select something and just try one. And, if it doesn't work, fine. You can either proceed or you can go like, yeah, I gave it the good old college try.
Hmm.
But like more than likely, you're going to be chain smoking Live Edges for a little while. And that'll be a good
Very
thing.
inspirational. It makes you look at the odd bits of your slabs that you normally don't look at.
Or odd bits of things. Like I love that Theo did the ammonite,
Oh yeah.
like that got me thinking like, huh. I was thinking on a linear, like you were just saying, Caleb, like, oh, I got lots of different slabs that would be really cool. But then when he came up with that, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Hmm.
I got a lot of other things that are hanging around that might be
Right.
really, really, really cool. And like after February, don't stop. You know, keep
Yeah.
keep looking through your piles and keep looking. Even though we're gonna have another contest that is different and has another theme, like keep on keeping on and we want to see it. Like Caleb was saying, you can always pop it up. We have the show and tell. It doesn't have to be in the contest area.
Right.
Show us. We want to see.
Yep.
Yeah. I like this, Val. So far, since I don't have a cabbing machine, all my stuff is Live Edge. Keep
That's
on
true.
keeping on, Val. And you make it work. Like it's interesting how sometimes the thing that we find is potentially a possible pitfall or a drawback turns out to be our signature. You
Hmm.
know, so good for you. Just keep going. All right. Well, do you have any parting words, Caleb, for everybody?
Yeah. So yeah, like we said, the submission time period will end Sunday night, just before midnight, and then voting will start on Monday. So sometime Monday, I will close down the submission thread, put up a voting poll in there, and you can go ahead and pick one vote per person on just who you think best met the challenge of the contest, or just your favorite, whatever you think. Just you get to pick on who you think did the best. And so that'll begin on Monday, and it'll go till Friday, and then we'll close it out. And I believe I said it different this time for the end of the voting period. Instead of it being at like midnight on Friday, it's going to be at noon Pacific time on Friday. That way everybody can be there when it closes to find out who the winner is, if you want to be there. And so yeah, the contest is going to change a little bit here and there as we go, as we learn and see what works for people. And this is one of the changes I felt was important, because like we wrapped it up last time at midnight, and it's like there was like nobody around, you know. So we're gonna make the switch to the middle of the day.
Nice. Yeah, I love that idea because yeah, everybody is kind of like waiting with bated breath, and so like to make it be a thing that we can all share together will be super fun. And then the pressure is on you to come up with the next month's theme. So
Yep.
start thinking about that too, because we'll be asking like,
Hmm.
what are we all supposed to do? You get to be the one. And so thank you again, Caleb. Do you have like as freeform lapidary? Do you have a video coming out soon? Just
I'm
asking
hoping.
for a friend.
I'm not gonna have one up this weekend. I'm hoping to have one up next weekend. So
Excellent,
keep your
perfect.
eyes peeled for that.
Might we see you perhaps during a live studio if we should maybe have one? Might we
Yeah.
see you again sometime this weekend if that
Yep.
happens?
I'm thinking so.
Excellent. All right, cool. Not that I put you just on the spot right now.
Right.
Um, but thanks. And thank you for coming on. Thank you everybody for hanging out. And we'll see you hopefully sometime this weekend for a live studio, Caleb.
All right. Sounds good. See you,
All right.
everybody.
Cheers. And Val is saying, I let my rocks speak to me. I love that. I love that approach. That is my favorite. Finding the different forms that the rock wants to be. And even if you use a stencil, you can definitely find what the rock wants to tell you by framing it. One of the things that Kurt was before he was, I don't know if it was before or during that he was a lapidary artist. He was also a framer, like a professional art framer. And finding that piece of artwork within the rock is definitely something that is part of your job if you are polishing or creating a cabochon, if you're cutting it away from the rest of it. Like, what is it that you're framing out of it? And it looks like Bob's Rocks is going good nights. And I saw a few of you also good night to those of you who were here earlier and popped out. I thank you so much. And there's a bunch of you still rolling here. And boy, I had a long docket and we're already like cruising up on 2 hours. That was a fantastic hangout with Caleb and just discussing those cabochons, those gorgeous live edge cabochons from all the submissions over on the Discord was worth it. Something to savor slowly. So that being said, I think that we will save looking at the some of my fresh cabs that I did. Oh, I'm so excited. I did this, like I have to share. There's this Gary Green that I just did last night, and it's so fun, but it's not live edge. It wasn't like part of what was going on this evening. But we were going to go through some of those, and we were going to start talking about composition. I have words the compositions that go along with some of the different forms that you come up with, if it's a free form shape with your cabochon, or if it's a standard shape, how are some of the ways that you would set that? How, as a framer, as an art, expressor, would you want to present it? And so I would still very, very much like to have this discussion. Like we were just touching upon with Caleb, do you prong set it? Do you wrap it with a bezel? Would you rather do a creative wire wrapping? Does it not want to have a setting? Is there some way to get the sausage made without fettering it in any way? Which is actually one of the ways that Ma does it, is she drills into the side, perhaps, creating the bail from adhering something to the stone itself, so that that way you get it set, or it doesn't get a setting at all. This is like so exciting to me. So I think that we're going to have another live stream sometime during the weekend, and I know that we've got a chock-a-block weekend to look forward to. We've got the Kyle live sale going on all weekend long. I think that some of the other channels we're talking about going live as well. So we'll try to like hit it so that everybody can just watch, you know, live streams all weekend long in a total state of bliss, and marathon it, as Cheryl has talked about before. Maybe we need to get that going because we're getting awfully close. Excuse me. See, and I'm even losing my voice. This has been such a week, you guys. I'm playing that country western song, but first I gotta thank John Saucer Hunter. Late to the party, but how do you? And somebody also said that they heard my dog back there. Like yeah, everybody is complaining behind that door, wanting some attention. Thank you, John. Really love to see you here. And I'm hoping very soon that you're back to making a bunch of music. We're gonna hear some of your music very soon for the outro. But I'm glad that you were able to make it, and thank you so much for the super chat. It's going to good things, you guys. We've got some really, really exciting things right on the horizon. And oh, thank you, Chris. Yeah, that Gary Green blew my mind last night. I kept on referring to like 2 o'clock in the morning, cabbing. That's because that was my last night. I just had it with this week. I slam dunked this week in the garbage can. And I was just like, I'm going to stay up really late and I'm going to do what I want. And I'm not even worried about commissions or anything right now. I'm just going to go downstairs and I'm going to do some cabbing. And I took this piece of Gary Green that, again, 775 hooked me up with Mr. Brian, man. And I just started like falling in love with this stone, and the stone just encompassed everything that I needed. It was therapy. Who does lapidary for therapy? Raise your hand. It works. So that made me so happy. I hope that your stones are making you happy too, everybody. And if you need some happy, break out some of your stones and just, let them do their job. Like, go ahead and pour them out on your table, or open up the chest, or however you have those things hanging out. Take them out and indulge, because that is what makes our worlds go round big time. And oh, this is great. Yay! The Lapidary Lounge is back on Tuesday with Rufo Tris, and so that's going to be happening. That's a wonderful thing to look forward to. I would love to come. And so we'll be having the Lapidary Lounge with Rufo. We'll be having a makers bunch, which is the same but different. We all get together on whoever's channel. We'll be doing one of those sometime throughout the weekend. Ma is chomping at the bit, and so we've got to make sure that she gets there too. And let's see, they need to go poop. Headlamp. Yep. Go look for some ammonites while I'm at it, right? Yeah. And so thank you, everybody. You guys are the absolute best ever. You cheer each other and myself up so much with your enthusiasm for rocks and all the things that you guys are up to. 2 to 3 p.m. and go until 6 to 7, depending on things. All right, that's Tuesday. Everybody put that on your rock calendar. You guys all rock. I love you. Seriously, I needed this. This was like good rock therapy for me. I feel much better now. And the dogs in the front here do too. And so we're gonna outro with John Saucer Hunter's song that he made special for the outro, and one more look at the beach sunset, and then next week we'll have something different. Thank you so much, James. I really appreciate you too, and Rufo and Val and Wild Heart and Chris, and of course, John, like I said, thank you so much. Lisa, thank you for being here. Jeff, congratulations on your 1K. Very well earned. Awesome. Vicky, thank you for being here as well. Love you guys. Love you. Ryan, thank you. Ma, of course. All y'all that are out there. You guys are the best. And we'll leave you with the beach outro. We'll see you again sometime this weekend. Make sure to go hang out with Kyle over at the live streams that he's working hard. He had some really cool weekday lives too, the auction and him making something for the auction while everybody's auctioning on it. I love that. What a cool thing. And so if you missed that, keep an eye. But again, I love you. Rock on. Spring it. Be alive, everybody. Are you here? Am I here? And we can't hear me.
Yeah.
Let's start over again. Are you here? Am I here? Man, we can't hear me. Let's start over again.